And we're so excited to have you today as part of the special forum. Thanks to Debbie Botha, who's part of our Global Industry Council and has been so generous in her support for the work that we do at the Digital Data Design Institute. In case this is your first time joining the community, we're a global research center that works on advancing research in AI and digital technologies to help make progress in business and society. We're tremendously excited today to have leaders from the Middle East who have been doing some amazing work in the region and beyond. In particular, in anticipation for our conference in the UAE, which is on December 13th at the Museum of the Future. We're hosting our first AI conference in the UAE after a very successful edition in Boston earlier this year, where we'll be speaking about the spectrum of AI and the growth in the space as part of AI Elevate, from readiness to exponential growth, which will capture diverse range of perspectives across academia, industry, and government. In case you're planning to be part of the region, it's an amazing time of the year. The weather is great. It'll be a nice relief from snow in case you're somewhere in a winter space. And we really hope you'll be able to join us in person. We also have a virtual option if that works for you. So without much further ado, we have a fantastic panel today with us. I would love to introduce Debbie, who's a co-founder of Dalebrook Middle East. And she has a phenomenal community of 100+ data analytics and AI leaders in the region. She's done some great work formerly with Women in AI as the Global Chief Partnerships Officer. And I'll let her introduce a little bit about her background and our fellow panelists who are joining us today. Thank you so much and enjoy this conversation.
Thank you so much, Shibani. It's a real honor to be here. I'm really excited to be affiliated with the Digital Data Design Institute. It's really exciting. So my background is have been in data analytics and AI my whole career, which spans 3 decades. Not giving away my age here. But lately, we've done a lot of work, myself and these wonderful leaders on the panel, on elevating the understanding and the impact of data analytics and AI leaders in the Middle East. And we've done a lot of research on the global impact of these leaders, but today we will focus on the success, the challenges, and the opportunities that these leaders face in industry organizations in the Middle East. So the community was started in 2022, December. We started with 5 chief data and analytics officers, Peter and Shailesh on the panel here, as well as Latifa was some of the founding members. But then now it's more than 150 of these leaders across basically UAE and Saudi. And these are decision makers driving the data analytics and AI agenda in industry companies, and they're responsible for the budget and for the team. So industries like government, retail, banking, telcos, etc., travel and transport. So it's really a cross-industry, and we do have gender diversity, as you can see, which is very exciting. But what we do is we hold regular roundtables. We have surveys that we do with these leaders to really understand their impact, their challenges, and their successes. So this is what we would love to share today with the audience, and we're very excited to share even the challenges with the audience. So without further ado, I would love to just ask these leaders to introduce themselves, and I ask them to just brag a bit about themselves as well. So please go ahead, Peter, Allan.
Okay, thanks, Debbie, for the introduction. So my name is Peter Allan. I'm the head of business information at Dubai Airports. Been in the region for about 13 years now. I've worked at Emirates, Virgin Mobile, and now at Dubai Airports. I think to talk about myself, probably the best way I can begin is to say I've loved data my whole life. I didn't really know that I loved data as a child, but I found myself constantly reading encyclopedias, trivia books. I'd take the box of questions from Trivial Pursuit to bed at night and read those. Obviously, it was before the internet was really a thing. But I just always loved acquiring knowledge. I love looking at trends, trying to understand things, and really trying to solve problems every day. And I think these characteristics lend themselves really well to working in the data space. I love being in the data space. I love delivering business value, but I think the thing that really gets me excited is the ability of data to transform the way that we interact with each other, the way that we work, the way that we serve customers, and the way that we're able to approach problem solving. The organizational change aspects for me are probably the big draw card: building teams, coaching and developing individuals, and improving business outcomes. Data's been kind to me. It's let me live in different countries. I've been able to travel the world on the back of data, meeting some really great, interesting people, some really amazing leaders. I've worked on amazing projects. I've solved really interesting problems, and I think that's what keeps me in data and keeps me excited. My current role, so I'm the head of business information at Dubai Airports. It's an interesting job title. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I'd never heard business information as a function, but it actually sits quite nicely. I sit alongside a counterpart in the information technology department, and collectively we deliver a holistic data transformation program together. I think it solves a number of problems, particularly where there's challenges over where data should sit. I think having a technology and a business person sitting together delivering data programs is really working well for us at the moment. We lead strategic data programs. So we've got a big data transformation program, governance, platform, business use cases, data quality. The whole lot is up for grabs at the moment. One of the other things that I'm responsible for is bringing the perspective of data to new programs of work as well. Typically, data is an afterthought, and people try to work out the data side of it after they've implemented platforms. We actually get in ahead of the curve and look to deliver data requirements as part of programs. We build performance measurement frameworks. We do a lot of testing and prototyping of AI and ML solutions as a sort of advanced task force. And the big focus for us also is driving self-service analytics, whether it's AI, ML, analytics, business process engineering. Just quickly before I wrap up, I think we've got a large operational footprint, passenger flows, baggage, airspace and so forth. But the other thing that we really focus on is the guest experience at Dubai Airport. So hopefully if any of you are ever coming through, you get to see some of the products that we work on.
Amazing. And Dubai Airport is one of the most brilliant airports in the world. Yeah. So let's go to, and it's very nice to hear the business language in what you're talking about. Shailesh Jain.
Thank you, Debbie. Good morning, good evening, everyone, depending upon where you're joining from. I don't know what to brag, but look, I'm extremely excited about being in the data analytics community as well as the industry. I've been working in this area for more than 2 decades. I've worked across more than 5 countries, from Australia to US and a lot of countries in between as well. And would have worked with clients all across during my consulting days. I would have worked with clients in more than 30 countries. So I love the possibilities of data, right from even before things like artificial intelligence, or before artificial intelligence, blockchain, before blockchain, big data. All of these became buzzwords. The data remaining at the foundation of it. I absolutely love the possibilities of data analytics. As far as my background is concerned, I studied data analytics back in early 2000s. The backpropagation or multi-layered feed-forward neural networks, which is the backbone of all the LLMs, regardless of GPT or Palm or Llama, all of them use that. So that's what we used to study back in the days. But I love the way the possibilities that cloud computing has offered to everybody, whether it's native solution or whatever you're using. We're developing solutions at speed. We are making the impact of those solutions at speed as well. the way data analytics itself has come in the forefront. I've experienced this all my life, and I've seen the transition happening. And I have to admit, we're living in a very, very exciting times for the data analytics professional. And obviously, like everybody else, I'm also a beneficiary of it. Regards my current role, I'm the global head of data analytics for a large retailer named Landmark Group, which work across all the countries in the Middle East, Asia Pacific, and India. And whether it's fashion or furniture or electronics, grocery, baby products, etc., all of those, there are both online and retail and the brick and mortar channels that it deals with. So what it offers for somebody like myself, a plethora of opportunities, both in the area of customer, e-commerce, supply chain, inventory forecasting, pricing, etc. At any given time, we're running about 55 plus analytical solutions across all of the brands that we work with. Pleasure to be here. Looking forward to an exciting conversation with all my co-panelists.
Oh, amazing. It's so exciting to have you here, Shailesh. Then Latifa Al-Shehi.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you from the team at the Design Institute. I think it's an honor to be a part of these amazing leaders here. And yes, we've connected, and thanks to Debbie that we got to know each other, I think, on a personal level, and we get to give each other tips across our journey and as we change and as we grow as a community. Now, I joined not as all of you. I joined in the banking sector when I started my career, and then I had a shift to the government. And since I moved to government, I'm always in government. So I worked in several organizations from the federal government, and then I worked to the local government as well as my role in RTA. Then I moved down back to, I'm still under probation though, so I just moved to the Ministry of Investment of the UAE. And after hours, I'm a community member in a lot of communities. I'm heading the AI and data chapter, the Women in AI, and maybe I also am one of the youngest people working with the UN Committee of Experts in Big Data and Data Science. I'm passionate, and I think that's the one thing that drove me to data, and the passion comes with what we can do and what changes we can make for the government and for the citizens living in the UAE when it comes to driving data from and supporting the decision making as well. So that's maybe in a nutshell in terms of myself. But where I work today, we're a new organization, if you all heard, 1 year old. And now we're building our entire data infrastructure, and I'm heading that as the Director of Investment Data in the Ministry. So looking forward for the panel.
And I have to say how proud I am of you, Latifa. Adil Belhouari, please.
Thank you, Debbie, Shibani, and my fellow colleagues. Today, Peter, Shailesh, and Latifa. I'm very, very happy and excited to be with you and with the audience in this panel discussion around the use of data analytics, AI, as well as the challenges and opportunities we as professionals in this field we are facing. So I'm Adil Belhouari. I'm the Senior Vice President, Head of Artificial Intelligence, Data Science, Analytics, and Business Intelligence in Riyad Bank in Saudi Arabia. I have been with Riyad Bank since 12 years now. I have over 20 years of extensive executive management and leadership experience at varying positions in multiple lines of business and technologies, with the proven records of superior achievement with cash flow and credit-driven and delivery management. So through my experience, I had the chance to experience intervention and involvement in a lot of data science, artificial intelligence, and digital banking strategies, looking into the customer experience, loyalty, enterprise data management, artificial intelligence and business intelligence in fintech partnership and open banking. So as I mentioned before, I'm working in the capacity of the head of Riyad Bank's Center of Intelligence, and I'm proud to be the one who launched the first of its kind Center of Excellence specialized in leveraging AI and data science and machine learning in the banking industry in Saudi Arabia, with the objective of helping the bank leveraging or enabling the bank, leveraging the power of AI and analytics to generate value. Generating value in different ways, in increasing revenues, reducing costs, and being more efficient, enhancing the customer experience, as well as helping and supporting the bank, improving the bank's, let's say, image and value. So prior to Riyad Bank, I was leading the analytics practice for SAS Institute, one of the well-known companies in the analytics world, focusing on consultancy and as well as technology providing in analytics and data field. I also performed as a professor in the University of Montreal, teaching statistics and business intelligence and data science in the business school of the University of Montreal. I'm part of different communities related to AI, data analytics, data science. I'm part of the worldwide business intelligence community in Massachusetts in USA, and as well part of the community of statisticians in Canada. So my passion and my hobby is to use the data and analytics to resolve business problems, to come up with creative, innovative ideas how we can leverage the data and analytics and analytical spirit to come up with solutions for enterprises as well as individuals, as well as government as well. So I'm very, very excited to be with you today and looking forward to have a very, very informative and funny discussion today. Thank you very much, Debbie and Chibani.
Amazing, Adil. And as you can see, we have a diverse panel across industries, fortunately across genders and across the region, from UAE as well as from Saudi. So I'm looking forward to have these discussions with all of you. Now, if we look at the challenges and opportunities facing the data and analytics and AI leaders, my personal feeling is that our leaders are grappling with challenges that are universal when pioneering emerging technology implementations. And I think these leaders, in our community at least, are doing a brilliant job at facing the challenges and grabbing the opportunities. And you will hear a bit later when we discuss the insights from our research that actually 80% of the challenges are people related, and 20% is only 20% is technology related. So these leaders are very much catalysts, and they have to sit on the one foot in business, one foot in IT, in the technology space. So the Middle East is extremely ambitious, and they have a huge appetite for AI, to be pioneers of AI across the industries across government and as well as startups. And the opportunities are endless, is my view, but you have to be at the right time, at the right place, to be able to leverage, to make a difference. And that's one thing that I can say of all these leaders. Their passion is to make a difference. So I think that it will be really nice to hear from our leaders. What do they see as their challenges and opportunities that they see these leaders grapple with and face, and the opportunities they glean from in today's world. So if you, Peter, can you share with us?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it short, talking about challenges, but I may not be successful. We've got lots of challenges, I think, like data leaders anywhere in the world. And I can rattle off a number of them shortly. But I think if I was to try and summarize it into what's the thing that that challenges me the most, I think it's this constant battle between doing things properly and building a really good, solid foundation upon which we can accelerate and scale in the future, versus needing to deliver things quickly and prove business value. I think we all struggle with this to some degree, and particularly when we're in the very beginning of data programs, as we are today within my organization. Throw on top of that, I think the pace of change and the speed of innovation that we're seeing globally from a technology perspective, and the way that that is being communicated within the community, it feels like everything should be really quick, but a lot of the legacy problems that have held us back in the past continue to. So sort of how that plays out for me within my organization, I think we've always got people who are relatively impatient at how long it takes us to deliver anything. They're usually quite vocal. We've probably all got at least one internal customer who makes our life difficult. I kind of like these guys as well, because they're the people who sort of keep us on our toes. I think if everyone believed what we told them in every steering group, we'd tend to put our feet up and take it a bit easy. So we need these people, but they do put quite a lot of pressure on us. I think when I talked about rapidly changing business priorities, I think generative AI has been great. It's brought a lot of people to the table. It's created a lot of interest, but it's also created a lot of false expectations about what's possible and how easy it is to do. I think we all face similar challenges. I've got problems with data quality, data quantity, and data complexity. As an airport, we rely on our partners for a lot of our data. And so trying to get data into our platform and make it usable, particularly to do a lot of the things that we need to in terms of prediction and optimization, we don't have a lot of control over the quality of data. So we need to come up with really creative mechanisms to make the data particularly usable for a lot of these use cases. A couple of other challenges around attracting, retaining data and AI talent. It's a really competitive market in the UAE at the moment. It's also a competitive market regionally. So being able to bring the right people and hold on to them, given some of the opportunities that there are within this region, are really difficult as well. The good thing with these challenges is it gives us opportunities to be creative. And I think every incarnation of a data program I've ever done, there's been elements that have been the same, but there's been elements that are completely different, because no two data implementations are the same. And so I tend to focus on sort of three pillars. I look at business value. You have to be able to deliver things that add value, and these are sort of the bread and butter of any data program. And then I think from a transformation perspective, delivering things that really transform the way that people work, making sure that we're empowering people, driving self-service as a capability, focusing on communication. I think these data programs tend to give us opportunities to bring people closer together, but we have to get there through adversity and through empathy and using a lot of emotional intelligence when we're communicating. I think the last part, and you've talked about it, Debbie, already today, it's this concept of community. So we try to build analytical communities in every organization I've ever worked in. And it's great because it helps us get our ideas out there, but in the words of people within businesses. But it also, I think the other thing that I've learned is just because I lead data teams, it doesn't mean I have all the great ideas. And so for me, it's about enabling people and giving people a platform in which their ideas are able to flourish, in which they're able to go and share their work themselves. And so with that adversity, I think we've had to be creative about how we scale. And I think scaling for me means bringing more people into the program and making more people capable of delivering the work that we do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Peter. Shailesh, what is your view?
So I'll build upon a couple of things that Peter touched upon. One is the speed of innovation. I think speed of innovation, obviously, and he mentioned in terms of how it happens at Dubai airports. I think the story is the same everywhere in terms of the expectations, not just for the speed of the innovation, but the expectation because of the terminologies like AI or generative AI becoming in a common dictionary these days. Anybody who's not even actually used it, they would definitely would want to use it or be associated with it, and hence the expectations increase significantly. Now, if I rewind, let's say 2 decades ago, or slightly more, when I started my career, it was a totally different situation. The situation was you were hungry for projects, you were fighting for projects, you were fighting to be in the foreground as opposed to be whatever the title we used to use at that time, not data scientist, but something else. But you used to be in the background. Now the situation is totally reversed. You're in the foreground. Instead of you fighting for the projects or the solutions, the need for solutions is falling to you, and it's far more than that you probably can take in your stride. But having said that, if I were to choose between the two situations, I will still choose a situation that is there in the 2024. That is much more exciting, because that's what all of us as a data and the AI professionals live for. Now, what that means is not just the data and AI professionals, but the people who are not even from the data and AI backgrounds, or let's just say data analytics background, they want to pounce upon and build solutions using AI, generative AI, GPT, Palm, Llama, whatever that is. And these are there all in the organization. Now, even if you look at the data analytics professional, how many of the people who are working and who are building solutions in AI would understand backpropagation algorithm? How many of them will be able to, on pen and paper, draw a vector from and create a large language model on their own? But if you can use it, everybody else, whether you're from finance, you're from supply chain, whether you're from HR, any area, everybody can use it exactly the way you can. So how do you control it? And is it your job to control it? I think that's, for me, is the more pertinent question. If you look at it, can you really control it? The answer is no. Can you stop them from doing it? Or should you stop them from doing it? I think the answer is also no. And the most importantly, if, let's just say, you are able to convert both the answers to yes, controlling or stopping them from using it, then do you have enough talent in your team to be able to develop all of it at the pace that they would expect you to? The answer for that is no as well. So if the answer for all the three questions is no, now how do you solve this problem? The way to solve this problem is you provide a solid data foundation, solid governance framework, and a strong AI policy that you should be creating and enforcing across the organization, and making sure that you bring all of the people, and not just the policy, but also the education as well, for multiple areas, not just for the data professionals, but for multiple functions in the organization. If you do it, that's fantastic. But again, once as data and AI professionals, the third challenge, because you didn't study, or you didn't really work in the area to write policies or apply governance across the organization. Obviously, you want to get your hands dirty as well. You want to create solutions day in and day out. So while you're doing all of it, you also need to continue to find ways and time to create cutting-edge solutions which are innovative in your industry sector and continue to make impact. I think these are, from where I see in 2024, are the key priorities and challenges that data analytics leaders will be facing.
Amazing, spot on. Thank you, Shailesh. Latifa?
I think Peter and Shajish said it all, I believe. But in my perspective, see, the challenges when it comes to using AI or data or analytics or these new trends is getting over the hype. So I believe if we look back throughout the decade, we'd see the hype previously was big data, and everyone was hyped up towards big data. Then we all hyped up, and our leaders were pressuring us to create big data solutions and big data analytics. And then it was Web3 and blockchain, and we were pushed to move to that new technology. And then it was like, okay, sharing data and open data, and now it's generative AI. And for me, it's very exciting to see what's coming. So the what's coming is what we need to play for, and we need to plan for, and we need to think about, and we need to enable. But the main challenge that I see, I'd say regular people process technology. We used to have data, now we have data and AI. So it's who's coming on top. Now, most of the CDO's roles is being moved to CAI, Chief AI Officer roles, but the fundamentals are the same. So the fundamentals is how can you build the right data landscape with the right quality and trusted data? How can you bring in tools to enable the teams to build their own solutions, where we look at self-service analytics and enabling them? And then how do you create a holistic culture through the organization where everyone can utilize these new technologies? And with AI, it changes the game. So anyone now can create their own GPT and customize it for their own purpose. But where I see it's heading is now we're moving to not only AI, but AI agents. So even our teams will be, some of the tasks of our teams will be done using AI. And imagine in the next decade, it's going to be, everything will be autonomous. So the AI will do the whole cleansing and analytics for us, and you don't need to be involved. So the movement is there, but it's very important for us to go back and see, okay, how we can let our teams and the culture of our organization utilize the tools. But as Shajish mentioned, the risk concerns, the policy, privacy, and having the governance is very important. And even the notion of governance and data risks, and we've all been facing it throughout our organizations. Like, how can you ensure the teams do not put highly confidential items on, like GPT, etc., that can be used and can be the IP of these organizations. So the cultural challenge, I believe, is crucial. From step one is to educate the teams to use it safe and to use it in a ethical manner to ensure that the teams are also utilizing these new technologies. And we see this throughout. So if we don't support them and enable them to use it, they're just going to use it on their own. So it's very important for us to encompass the whole ecosystem as well.
Yes, amazing, very good. Adil?
Yes, Debbie, I think my colleagues, they said everything, but please allow me to take this subject from banking industry perspective. And I believe that it will be easily projected on all types of organization in different industries and sector. As you might know, all the financial industries recently was witnessing a transformative shift with the advance of advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, and digital transformation. This evolution is reshaping the way financial institutions and all types of institutions, how they are generally operating in terms of enhancing the customer experience, looking into revenue increase and optimization. So the dynamic nature of the ecosystem in the industry, in the banking industry, as well as any other industry, demands a unique blend of technical expertise, creativity, and strategic vision to harness the full potential of these technologies and transformative advancements of the technology. I think with the emergence of concepts like digital transformation, technology revolution, the Internet of Things, big data, metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, professionals in these fields, they don't have any other choice other than being fast and innovative in the way they are managing their day-to-day activities and the way they are dealing with organizational issues. From my views, I think that the main challenge for me and my colleagues is to keep the organization's executive management continuously excited, adopting, adapting, and being well educated to sponsor the investment in the data and analytics. This is the main challenge, because creating this excitement within the organization and educating the top management and all the stakeholders to believe that data analytics, the use of data in innovative way to resolve solutions will bring the desired value. This is the main challenge that strategic professionals they are facing these days. This requires a high ability to balance quick wins with strategic roadmap implementation and midterm strategies and projects. I think this challenge is one of the key elements that might make the journey of implementation of a proper data and analytics strategy successful within any organization. And the professionals in this field, they need to show a high level of creativity, innovation, and also agility and speed in reacting with these dynamics in the ecosystem and all the changes in the market. This is what I have in this regard, and I think even with these challenges, the opportunities are very, very high and various, and even the value out of these opportunities, the expected values out of these opportunities are very high. Thank you very much.
Amazing, Adil. Thank you so much. So let's look at the insights that we have from the 2023 and 2024 surveys and polls that we've ran throughout the year. And then I will ask each of the leaders to give us their opinion on it. So I would like to start with the leaders' perception of success of their function. So less than half, about 38% of the leaders reported their functions are well established and successful. What do these leaders perceive as the highest contributing factor of their success? Most of the 38% successful leaders indicate that they focus on strategic value, like, the business value generating initiatives to increase efficiency, productivity, profitability, and importantly, to delight the customers. Now, let's look at the implementation of AI solutions and their investments in these initiatives. So, fully scalable implementation of AI solutions across departments at these industry organizations will take time. The vast majority, 72%, currently have scattered and isolated AI deployments, while 1/5 of the respondents have no deployments at all. So why do they have scattered solutions or no solutions at this stage? It is interesting that around 70% of these leaders struggle to AI due to people challenges. The people challenges like resistance to change, training and skills are the key reasons for holding back programs and the AI implementations. So in the event of data and AI program challenges and failures, as I said earlier, 80% are attributed to people issues, and only 20% due to technology. 3/4 of these leaders are spending the equivalent of at least 1 day a week engaging in change-related activity, and almost half of these leaders spend 2 days a week on it. So, as I said earlier, our leaders are grappling with challenges that are universal when it comes to pioneering emerging technologies, and I really do think they are doing a brilliant job in tackling these challenges and navigating the landscape. They are building the foundation to ensure that they are able to scale in the future. And the foundation is data and AI literacy programs across the organization. And to me, it's very heartwarming that 90% of the leaders are running company-wide data and AI literacy programs, which empowers the staff of the organization, from the boardroom to the executives, right through to the frontline staff. And with a foundation in place, and this is the good news, 92% of the leaders will have implemented scalable AI products enterprise-wide by the end of next year, 2025. So when it comes to ethics and quality, the saying that Informatica actually coined, everybody is ready for AI except your data, is so true. But the percentage spent on of the budgets are slowly starting to reflect that they are addressing the challenges. 76% is being spent on data quality, data governance, security, and data protection. And I do think that they are addressing the challenges of ethics not appropriately, because only 27% is spent on ethical AI, sustainability, and diversity and inclusion. So that's just me with my Women in AI hat on, but let me digress and ask the leaders to give me their input on the insights. Peter, if you can start.
Okay, it's super interesting insights, Debbie. I think the first thing when I was listening, and I heard 38% of leaders are in established functions within companies, and I think it was something similar for the number of leaders who feel like they're delivering business value. It sounds really low when you first hear it, but I think you've almost got to lift yourself out of the fact that we're in this stuff every day and think about the growth that this region is, the growth path that this region has gone on over a very short period of time. When I got here 13 years ago, the concept of business intelligence and analytics was, it was nowhere near mature compared to where I'd come from in the past. And I think about the growth that we've gone on, particularly over the last 4 or 5 years, not just in my company, but in all companies. This is a country where when they decide to do something, they do it properly and they do it at scale. And we're seeing that when it comes to data and AI. So I'm sure that 38% might sound low, but I'm sure that next year it'll be 50 or 60%, and the year after it will be growing again. The headline for me is that data functions have a foothold. And if you think about things that all the other panelists have talked about today, for us, the journey is about how do we bring people to data and how do we sell the notion of data and analytics. And I think we're being really successful in that space. I think that the challenge with delivering business value might come from potentially expectations that aren't really realistic in terms of what can be done in the timeframes that we get. I think when it comes to generative AI, I think a lot of people have thrown money at it because they're having generative AI pushed down their throat with a side of FOMO, and it's difficult for people to resist that. But when you try something and it doesn't necessarily deliver results, potentially people get a little bit scared and back off after spending some money. So I think we've all got a job to do in terms of setting realistic expectations. For us, I think we've been doing artificial intelligence and machine learning for years at the airport, and fortunately you don't notice most of it when you walk through the airport and don't have to pull your passport out because you walk through smart gates. When you turn up at the baggage carousel and your bag is already there waiting for you when you walk out. I think we deploy AI across the airport in ways that you won't really notice, but when you think holistically about the journey you go on, you're experiencing the benefits of AI everywhere in the airport. I think for us, we don't treat AI as a separate product. We treat it as part of a holistic data program. And for us, where we've been able to really temper expectations is, I think a lot of people will tend to throw AI at problems. We work out, when we look at all the problems and all of the use cases that we potentially can solve, which ones of those fit into an AI product. So for us, we don't use AI because it's there. We use AI when we think it's the right use case. We're right at the beginning of our new data transformation program. So for us, it's how do we incorporate AI into that program? We're looking at it from 3 perspectives at the moment. For us, obviously, the data program is the thing that's implementing the governance, it's implementing the platforms, it's implementing the data quality and volume challenges. But we know that takes a long time, so we're picking use cases, and those use cases range from anything from guest experience. We do a lot of work with sentiment analysis. We use a lot of external data. So I think Latifa talked about protecting your company's assets and protecting your company's data. We tend to play with a lot of external data. So Google review data is a super rich source of information for us that we're able to analyze every single word a customer has ever said about us online. Another great one, we focus a lot on sustainability at the airport, and we've been able to use language models to ingest every airport and every government's environmental sustainability policy, and to be able to go and analyze those using chatbots and language models to understand what other people are doing in this space and how we can improve. We use it for optimizing code and for helping us build applications. So there's a lot you can do with generative AI without overcommitting to the powers that be. But then where we're really getting bang for our buck is in terms of our training and education program. So we really focus on educating not just the people doing the work, but educating our executive community as well, so they can think more strategically about what artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data can deliver for the business.
Amazing. I'm almost jealous when I hear about the nice work that you're doing. No, I am jealous. Okay. So Shailesh, what do you think about these insights of our surveys and polls?
Look, first of all, let me give comfort to Peter. We do notice all the changes that have happened at the Dubai airports. I think it's not just the retina scan. I think I probably one of the biggest beneficiary as well, because it leaves a lot of pages on my passport unstamped, which I can use when I travel, as opposed to changing my passport 4 times during the tenure of the passport. So thank you very much for all the changes that you guys have brought in. Now, coming back to the research, Debbie, I think the answer is in the statement itself. The statement was that I don't remember the exact percentage you mentioned, but I think it was somewhere around 60% have not been able to successfully deploy AI solution. If you look at this statement, what does it look like? What the purpose of or the objective set out for these functions were? To me, it appears the objective set out was the deployment of the AI solution. I think that's where you're going wrong about it. Have you ever encountered a situation, regardless of whatever industry sector that you're working in, have you ever encountered a situation where you very quickly develop a solution, doesn't matter what tool that you use, but you very quickly developed a solution, it's making a 10% impact on the top line, and somebody says, no, actually, you know what, no, scrap this, take 1 year, make it more AI, and I don't care if it works or it doesn't work, and I don't care if it actually gives any impact on it, but just go back and make it more AI. I don't think you will hear that narrative. So if you don't set your objectives right, and I think both Latifa and Peter and Adil also touched upon it in various ways. I think Latifa or Peter used the term FOMO. If you get driven by the new thing, that new catchy thing that comes out, and the new buzzword that is happening, you got it wrong. Your business value still remains that the business is still chasing the same value. Obviously, with the use of artificial intelligence or generative AI, or even if it is big data, whatever is your buzzword, ultimately you're creating more efficiency, you're creating speed, you're creating better experience. And there is more and more investments coming into the area, as opposed to back in the days when you have to fight for every single dollar on top of whatever investment made last year. So when people are willing to invest more, obviously they will expect more. The companies will expect more. Shareholders will expect higher dividends. Your customer will expect if they're paying more for your services, they will expect better customer service. And the employees, including yourself, who are working in the area of data and analytics, they would also want to get higher bonuses. Now, if the objective is the same, then why your objective is chasing the AI deployment as opposed to making an impact to the top line or the bottom line, or whatever is the key metric for your organization is? And I think that's where majority of the folks get it wrong. And also, it depends upon as to how much confidence do you have as the data analytics and AI leader. If you are someone who can easily be perturbed with the next buzzword that comes in the industry, and you also have somewhere the fear of missing out if you don't. And also, look, let me be frank. Also, your teams also will put a lot of pressure. Clearly, since the time I've been working in the industry for more than 2 decades, there's always been a demand-supply imbalance. I think, obviously, in the last 5-7 years, it's been far more than what it used to be earlier, because the demand for the AI solutions or data analytics solutions have increased quite a lot. And your teams will also put pressures on you. And my friend in the other company is actually using an AI solution. And how can I build the AI solution? Now, my answer to my team would be, you can build a better AI solution. Absolutely, go all for it. Try 5 solutions, no problem. Even if you fail in 2, absolutely no problem at all. But however, set the objective right. What is the metric that you're trying to influence? Are you going for better customer experience? Are you going for stock availability? Are you going for more competitive pricing? Are you going for better assortment? Obviously, I'm talking in terms of the retail sector, the area that I work in. But whether it's banking or airports or transport, whichever industry that you're in, I think some of the metrics will apply. And if you got your foundation right, if you set your objectives right, as well as the data foundation right, then I think everything else will follow.
Yes, yeah, absolutely spot on. And business value, that is what the successful leader said. That was the deciding factor, what made them so successful. Thank you so much, Shailesh. Love your view. So, Latifa, what do you think of the insights?
So I think I'll touch upon maybe a point Peter and Shailesh mentioned in terms of 38% of our functions are actually active in terms of our data loads. I believe we are quite harsh as CDOs and data professionals. I believe what we think is the best case scenario, the business will be fine with half of what we bring. And I think for us to understand actually the business requirement, as Shailesh mentioned, is very important. And what we look at in terms of implementing use cases or like leveraging and getting the budgets we need to serve our use cases and what we're planning to do in our data programs is actually piggybacking on the hype. So you piggyback on the hype, you get your budgets, use it for other things, and give them maybe a POC or a pilot project for a short time, which would satisfy their initial needs. And then you work with them throughout their journey. Because sometimes people, yes, want to have a fear of missing out. But what we see is once you actually give them a product and they start using it and leveraging it, this is where the change happens, and then they reinvest in whatever you're trying to build. The second thing I want to mention is the whole notion of the new trends of the CDOs, etc. Yes, 76% spend of our time is spent on like data quality, data governance. But I think the shift in other parts and other sectors, such as the private sector, where it's all a balance in terms of our strategy. It's either an offensive strategy where you go and create like business value and you focus on business use cases, or a reactive approach where you try to secure and govern and ensure like you have the right compliance methodology. And for us in government, it's all about the balance, finding the right balance between an offensive strategy where, yes, you need to focus on the right data quality and governance, but we also need to think about the citizens living in our cities and being proactive and using AI to support the livelihood or your journey within the city, whether it was using public transport or paying your bills or utilizing some of the technology that's available. Maybe in the past, the vision was to make everything digital. Now it's digital, where we can also leverage these new technologies to support fast tracking and using AI in other places. But the main challenge that I see and the most challenge, and I echo, is the people challenge that we all face. So the people challenge is a mandatory challenge to fix. Maybe in a lot of our organizations, people are reluctant to change. Yes, Debbie, I agree. 1 or 2 days a week we spend being change agents and innovation champions, and sometimes, people champion and HR managers as well. So we as data people, we play, I believe, all of these hats at once and with each stakeholders. But it's very important from how I looked at it throughout my journey and the government is find your champions. So finding the champions and echoing that and highlighting them and making them shine and making them present to top leadership, that really gives us also a FOMO for all other departments that do not leverage AI and data science or analytics in their organizations. So that's my take on the matter.
Oh, and that's why I love UAE, is because you data people are really taking care of the citizen. So excellent work, Latifa. Adil from Saudi, what is your take on these insights?
First of all, thank you very much, Debbie, for this insightful and educative study. Me personally, I learned a lot about the data and analytics spectrum within the Middle East and how the professionals they are looking into the different elements and success factors in this area. So from my side, and based on what you said and the outcomes, the main highlights of this research, first of all, aligned with Peter, Latifa, and all the panelists here about, so they say that 38% of the leaders, they have their AI and analytics entities well established. It's very, very low. I with Latifa that we are so demanding as well as professionals. However, what attracted my attention is all of this 38% or majority of them, they are focusing on strategic business value generation. And I think this is one of the key success factors if when it comes to like having a proper solid data and analytics and AI practice within an organization. From my eyes, I think that we have 3 main ingredients if we want to have successful practice within any type of organizations, banking, financial industry, government, private sector, all types of sector. I think the first ingredient is that we need to have proper data analytics and AI strategy within the organization and a clear roadmap where we want to be in three months, where we want to be in the midterm, and where we want to achieve and be positioned at the long run. The second ingredient is all about the capabilities and like the competencies that you have to build to well execute your data and analytics strategy and generate the desired value. So in this regard of capabilities, I'm looking into the ingredient number one, or the element number one, which is like the people and the skill set. So this is the most important ingredient. Then looking into the operating model, how you operate in as an entity, as a data and analytics entity within the organization with the other stakeholders. Look into the processes, data stack, as well as the framework. So how you govern as well the use of this data and analytics practice in the organization. The third ingredient, I think, and this is where these leaders, they are focusing on strategic business value, is to operationalize and also utilize the outcomes of your data and analytics activities. As you know, a big percentage of the models, of the data and the analytics outcomes, they are just reside in computer proper operationalization and utilization. And this is a success factor we need to look into.
Absolutely. I think we can, all of us agree that the success factor is the strategic value that that data analytics and AI can bring to the organization. So I just want to spend a few minutes each on what is the, if you haven't touched on it yet, the strategic value that that data analytics and AI can bring to your organization. Peter?
Okay, there's a lot we could talk about. I think to cut it down to a couple of minutes, I think I'd look at it from two perspectives. One is redefining how we work, and the second is the pursuit of marginal gains. And so if I talk about the way that we work, I think we're all conscious of the benefits and the potential impacts of tools like generative AI, having more data available, having real-time information. I think it's more fundamental than how it's going to change every individual's ability. And it comes down to the way that traditional organizations are structured versus the realities of working in a modern environment where data is the lifeblood of the organization. And I think it really hits home when you look at the structure of traditional IT departments, where you're trying to shoehorn data as a program and data as a capability into an application and a customer or a portfolio-driven information technology department. So for us, where we see this surfacing within our organization, and not just at my current organization, but numerous organizations I've worked at, is if you think about a use case in the data space today, it's a very blurred line between an application, a process enhancement, a dashboard or a report. Now, I think we need to think more holistically about how we structure our businesses to work to enable us. I think we often get in our own way when we try to do really important things when it comes to data analytics and so forth. So that for me is one of the big pieces. And then the second part around marginal gains. If you've ever watched Formula One and you see the amount of computing power sitting in a team's pit crew, we experience the same when it comes to an aircraft turn. And so for us, the gains of saving a minute of an aircraft turn are massive fuel benefits. They're massive savings to the airlines. They're huge carbon reductions. And so for us, these marginal gains, they're the target now. We can have the most amazing systems and data in the world, but when you're dealing with stakeholders from 6 or 7 different companies with their own objectives and their own purpose for participating in a particular way, how do you bring people together around a common understanding of what a shared benefit is? And I think all the data and all the analytics in the world, without the ability to drive change and transformation and bringing people together, it's for nothing if you can't handle that side of it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. And Shailesh?
Look, we kind of covered most of it, but in terms of the possibilities of AI, obviously for all industries, it is unlimited. Not just the AI. Once again, we go back to the foundation, which is the data analytics. That is unlimited. But one of the things I would definitely touch upon is when we spoke about the challenges that what business expects of the data and AI professionals. And then we've also talked about how business does not consider us as part of part of the core business. I think it's the problem lies within when within the statement itself. When you say business does not understand us, you obviously put yourself on a separate as a separate team, as a separate entity apart from the business. If you consider yourself as part of the business, I think everything else stems from there. Then in that case, you don't really have to worry about convincing anybody for either investment, convincing anybody for taking up the project, because then you start living and breathing the business on a daily basis. You know exactly what's required. What is the first problem that you need to solve? Your first problem that you need to solve is not really creating images and content at scale through using artificial AI or generative AI. Your problems could be increasing the quality in your customer service, increasing the quality of the merchandise that you're putting on the floor, or increasing the speed and the accuracy of your supply chain. Then you don't have to really convince anybody. You yourself are convinced, and that drives everything within yourself as well as your team members. And hence, I wouldn't even say be close to the business, be inside the business itself. Stop using the term that business does not understand us. Business expects us to do this. You are the business predominantly. You're part of the same company. You're the organization, and like everybody else, you should be driving the business as well.
I also think, Shailesh, you touched on a very important point, which made me think that it also helps a lot if you have a seat at the C-suite table. I think that makes you part of business, actually. So what is your thoughts? Do you want to mention something, Shailesh?
Yeah, if I may just comment on it, I think the seat at the table or not having a seat at the table, look, all of us, we are fairly experienced, and one of the areas I think everybody would have definitely encountered at some stage in their life is influencing without authority. You don't have to have a seat at the table. If you have a seat at the table, well and good. If you have a seat at the table and you still can't influence, then the seat is not saving you. If you don't have a seat at the table, but you still have the skill to influence without authority, you will get a seat at the table, or even if you don't get it, you would get your way. I think that's more important than having a seat at the table.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Latifa?
I just want to maybe start off echoing where Shajish left off, where I think we're not only CDOs, but we're, like, I'd say a flavor of being a politician as well within our organizations, where we advocate for the projects that we believe in. We advocate for getting the right resources, and we advocate for doing the right thing. Often, sometimes it's not agreeing with some of the business users. And for us, it's all about how we can get them on board. And as Peter Shajish mentioned, is like how we can also enable them and getting the right sponsors in place and having that buy-in and tangible acceptance of these products that we're trying to build is very important. But the second thing that we see moving forward and the push from leadership in the government is quite tremendous. And we see this with, having chief AI officers in all the government authorities. So that push and that blend is how can we use AI in an ethical manner and something that can also support and improve people's lives. And I think we all heard about the new initiative from the government, the zero bureaucracy. And I believe AI and data sits in the middle of that zero bureaucracy concept, is not having processes, not having data, not having products for the sake of having products, but actually having things that you can support and drive value is also very important. But the main area that I think we all as CDOs think is not only what we are currently doing in our organization, let's say we created an amazing product and we enabled the business throughout that product. And it's all about going back. Sometimes we forgot about pre-care, but post-care as well, and saying, hey, is there some features that you want to add? Look, this is maybe an emerging data source, like Peter is using Google. They're using other emerging data sources that can complement the decisions that our business needs to take. And as Shajish mentioned, we are also the business. So we also need to always think about how we can improve the products that we're building and creating more efficient ways of delivering that product, and as well enabling them with self-service practices, whether it was data as a self-service from the data department, whether it was a data product, whether it was a report, whatever notion. But today, I believe with the move to being a knowledge-driven organization and using AI on top of that knowledge that we have is actually crucial to the next generation, and how we also build our organizations and how we merge all of these new technologies together.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Latifa. What about you, Adil?
So, of course, overall, the strategic use of data and analytics can greatly enhance organizations' performance by leveraging the insight to drive growth, efficiency, innovation, as well as effectiveness. I think that the impact is there. How we are utilizing this data and analytics, how strategically we link it into the strategic goals and objectives of the organization is very important as well, because the leverage of this analytics should go in the same direction as the priorities of the organization, as per the line of directions for the entire organization. As Latifa mentioned, we as a CDOs in companies, we need to be part of the strategic achievement of the organization's goals, achievement, as well as strategic views. We in Riyad Bank, and specifically when we talk about the Riyad Bank Center of Intelligence that we launched earlier this year, we linked and we put part of the most important ingredient of success is the value and the impact on the organization and beyond. From this perspective, we witnessed within the bank that the Center of Intelligence start contributing directly into the bottom line of the bank through the implementation of different use cases. Some of them are predictive AI related use cases. Some of them are generative AI, and some of them related to advanced analytics. So from this perspective, a huge amount of value start coming from an organization like Center of Excellence for Data and Analytics. And this is where and how we have to leverage the investment the organizations are doing in data and in analytics, in resources and in infrastructure. The second thing that we need to as well to have this contribution as a CDOs and as a data and analytics entities internally in the bank, and start thinking to leverage these capabilities even outside the organizations. So is to create a kind of line of business related to the practice of data and analytics within organization. And this is, I think this is the trend now. And this is how data and analytics professionals and practitioners can show the impact and can show the value out of the investment and sponsorship in the area of data and analytics. I can list down a couple of opportunities that a successful practice of data and analytics can have on our organization. First of all, the informed decision making. So all of us, we can agree that, okay, decision making based on insights, based on informative background is always better and always valuable. Looking into knowing your customers through customer insights, through predictive analytics, through hyper personalization. So no organizations, even in with Peter in the airport, with Latifa, with Jane, all the organizations, they will not reach this level of hyper personalizations if they don't have a proper data and analytics practice within the organization, and if they are not leveraging it in the way that will let the organization know better and properly the customer to customize a proper offering and product offering services to the customer. So it's obvious that having the proper data and analytics practice within the organization has a big impact directly and indirectly to the bottom line of organizations.
Amazing. Great. So, Shibani, do you think we should give a bit of time to the audience for questions, if there are any questions?
Absolutely, Debbie. Thank you.
I think while we wait for questions to come through, they can send it, they can raise their hands, they can send in the comments. While we wait, let me ask the panelists for final thoughts, maybe, to just if there is something that they want to part their wisdom with the audience, and then we see if there's any questions coming through. So, Peter, if there's anything that you want to leave the audience with, what would that be?
I think it's finding people who, for me, finding people to work for who buy into the potential of data. I recently heard our CEO, Paul Griffiths, talking about the new airport that we're building. And obviously we love to build amazing things in Dubai. And the new airport promises to be nothing short of unbelievable. And I heard him use a line that the technology that will drive the guest experience at our new airport probably doesn't even exist yet. And I love the fact that that's where his head is at. He gets the opportunity and he gets the potential of what we're able to do. And I don't know how many people are old enough to remember how useless the internet was when it first came about. I remember trying to work out what you were going to use this thing for. And the internet really needed the smartphone, and the smartphone needed the application to become the thing that we all know and love today. And I think generative AI and AI and ML in totality all sort of share that characteristic, that generative AI on its own is fantastic, but it's limited. But generative AI embedded in something, or combined with autonomous agents, or as part of an overarching product that is able to predict and anticipate, has the potential to be just phenomenal. And I think we're on the cusp of something amazing. And our role as data leaders is, one, to keep people grounded in terms of what's possible today, but to make sure that we're laying the foundation for what's going to be possible in the future.
Amazing. I think there's one question that came through from Ben, and he's asking about how's AI and aging future plans, meaning he's got a project to help the people. So I don't know, the aging generation, I presume. So I don't know if one of you can. I don't think I think maybe Latifa in government and citizens.
So maybe it's all about inclusivity, and I believe the whole notion of having digital services or accessing services is also not forgetting those in need. Like for me personally, my grandma, she cannot text, but definitely she can call someone and explain what is needed. So it's all about how we can leverage these new technologies, whether it was AI, whether it was generative AI, whether it was agents, etc. Is how do we not forget the rest of the generation as well? And using all of the multimodal concept of AI is to support those services being accessed by everyone, whether it was going through the airport or whether it was getting your credits paid or getting services from the government, or even as little as maybe calling a loved one. You can do it with like Siri, you can do it with using AI features, and that's embedded already in everyday system. And as we grow in our society, I think IoT and Edge AI would be quite prominent, and everything will be connected to this AGI maybe that's coming, and it will be better services that's available for that generation. And I believe maybe education is very important in that aspect.
Amazing. So I would like to ask Shailesh for his parting thoughts, but also answering this question about how do you deal with challenges like cost, dynamic data sets, trust, hallucination, and so on, of retraining the AI model?
Okay, very good question. I think I was planning to actually include that in my parting thought as well. So that's good. I will hit two birds with one stone. So the very first thing is I think we briefly touched upon on the topic of talent and how that is a challenge for everybody in terms of acquiring talent, retaining talent. And if you look at it, what is talent looking for primarily these days? Number one has to be no points for guessing. It has to be monetary and monetary benefits, right? The second one, debatable, but second one could be your work location policy, whether you allow remote work, you allow work from home, you work hybrid, etc., or lesser hours at work in person, etc. Because obviously the generation that which is coming in, they like more of impersonal communication, texting over a phone call over a video call, and a video call over in-person meeting. Yeah, so that's the priority that they go with. So that's the second one. And the third one, perhaps, I guess, is the FOMO, the fear of missing out. How much AI that you're doing, because everybody wants to get their hands on the AI because that's a buzzword today. You cannot control the first two because obviously that is determined by the corporate policy as to what's the compensation that you offer for different skill sets, experience, etc., roles, etc., etc. Second one, your work policy, location policy, obviously that is determined by your organization as well. The third one you can somewhat control because how much of AI implementation can you take in your stride while keeping your eye on the prize, which is delivering the value to the organization and the business outcomes. The fourth one is what drives people. What really drives people, in my experience, is if they can thump on the table and say, "Look, I built this solution. I built this." Regression model. I built this generative AI solution, and we got an impact of $2 million because of it. So that pride generally drives the people. And I think if we get the foundation right, we touched upon this part, but how does that link to the talent retention? I think that's the point I wanted to highlight on. If we get that foundation right, then you would be able to retain people also longer. The second part that we need to do is all of us as leaders and managers as well. When we attract talent, you definitely look for the impact that they make in the current organization. If you're looking to hire somebody, if they can't answer the question, I don't really care how much PySpark you know. I don't really care as to how much of what packages have you touched upon. And you might have had 2 years of experience working across 4 organizations. That doesn't really impress me much. That's a song as well. But look, But if you look at it, I think we need to do a very good job in terms of at the talent acquisition as well as at the time of and for the retention as well. Now, coming back to the question in terms of let me just
hallucination, trust when
yes.
training the model.
So I'm not trying to scare the audience, but I think hallucination from artificial intelligence is going to get into the realms of artificial general intelligence, which is a totally different realm, far more intelligent, and then obviously going into other areas also. And that's where things will start to go out of control. I would highly recommend, instead of just completely trust, algorithm is an algorithm. There is nothing wrong with the large language model algorithm, but ultimately, where does it get its intelligence from? It gets its intelligence from the data. So obviously, you have to do a significant amount of job in terms of making sure the data that's going in terms of training it, that data is absolutely accurate. Having said that, can it still hallucinate? Yes, it can still hallucinate. Even if you just, let's just say you created a chatbot, which is based on your organization policies and FAQs, and the front end is for people to just ask the question and this to respond from the policy document, as opposed to somebody reading the entire policy document. Yeah. So how do you control this? I would strongly recommend to understand the mechanics of how the LLMs work. I intended to bring the copy of my book and show it to everybody. There is a book, very nice book. It's a very thin book. You don't have to read like thousands of pages. Written by my professor, Dr. Kate Smith. It's called Introduction to Data Mining and Neural Networks. It talks in detail about backpropagation algorithm and the multi-layered feed-forward neural networks. I know it might be boring to certain people as to why do I have to do it. If I can just get on to use Llama or one of the OpenAI algorithms, why do I have to even study it? Yes, it's very important because the things are going to get really risky from this point forward. Today, everybody is chasing the sun that everybody is chasing today is to how many AI implementations I can get in the shortest frame of time. The next, the goal everybody is chasing is how can I correct the AI implementation that I've implemented in the last year. And then I think it might be how can I eliminate all of those and bring it back to something else, which can give more accurate and more reliable solution to the end customer. So it's really important to study it. I can probably send the link over in case the book is still on their shelves. I'm not sure. The book was written in 1998. I studied in 2000. But if it is not available, I'm ready to lend it to people at the same rate when I used to get penalized at my library, $2 a week. So happy to.
Amazing, thank you, Shibani. We're on the hour, at the end of our session. Can I maybe just give Adil the chance to give his final thought, and then we can wrap up.
Sure, Debbie. Thank you so much. It would be great if you can wrap up in 30 seconds, and we would just like 30 seconds to close the session. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will seize this panel discussion to give some takeaways to our audience. For the audience who wants to have AI and analytics as a part of their professional career, I think the main three ingredients to be successful in this field is to have first the technical skills that are required. When we say technical skills, we are talking about mathematics, statistics, computer science, and programming. However, more important than the technical skills is the business knowledge and the field knowledge. So field knowledge and business knowledge that will help these professionals looking into business-related solutions. The third ingredient is the gift. And either we have it or not, is our analytical sense and problem solving and creativity and innovations. These elements are very critical and important to have successful professionals in the area of data analytics, data science, and AI. Thank you very much for having me with you.
Amazing.
Today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shibani.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of our panelists, to all of our participants. We so appreciate this conversation, and we would love to continue the dialogue in person if possible in Dubai at AI Elevate on December 13th at the Museum of the Future. If you're unable to join us live in person, we would love for you to dial in virtually. We look forward to seeing you around and continuing the conversation as part of our series. Thank you. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you so much,
you,
you and
everyone.
all the panelists. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.